I could say I won't even bet my life that in 5 years it'll be higher. But I would bet my life in 10 or 15 years. You know, some of you might bet your life in 5 years. I don't know. Tom will sell his kidney. So that's the question. Yeah, we're all pretty young in here. We really are. So you're going to be around in 10 years. I mean, whatever you do now is going to make a difference between now and 10 years from now. Think about that. I don't know if next year it's going to be whatever, or these deals are going to come around, and I don't know if it's going to be worth $800,000. But yes, Sean.
That's subject to financing. How long did you keep it before the bank deal on it?
That's a good one. I refinanced that. Let's say I bought it in 2000. I refinanced it in 05. So I had
5 years,
probably 5 years. Here's the interesting part. When I paid the guy off, I was using my commission money because it was 10%, and I paid his $50,000 second off. You know, I paid checks here, and then I paid it off. It was a funny story. A couple of years later, he went to get a home loan. He calls me up out of the blue. I didn't know you still have that loan. And I said, yeah, it's subject to. He goes, no, my lender says you're doing a great job. It's never been late. You're actually helping my credit. But I didn't know you had it. So he was just calling the question, am I going to keep it for a while? I said, I think so. You know, but he thought when I paid him up, I had paid everything off. So he kind of just forgot about it until 2 or 3 years after that. Then he realized, hey, this thing shows up on the credit report. He called me to thank me that I was doing a good job. I said, I told you I was going to do a good job. But I did refinance it about in 05 because I had to refinance it.
So the bank did not bother you for 5 years?
No.
Never will, Sean. Never will.
We've taken a lot of loans subject to. You guys know the process? You guys know what subject to is? You change the mailing address to here or your house, and you continue to make the payment. That's really all you do. There's one more great trick in there. Make sure when you get your insurance policy, you put it in that person's name and your name, not just your name. But yes, Deb.
Now it's subject to, are there any legal ways of going about this, or is this just in a purchase contract?
This is a legal way.
And then escrow handles it?
Absolutely.
Escrow handles it. Title does transfer. The only thing that doesn't change is the payee on the loan. That's all. The payer on the loan.
So you don't need a fancy lawyer, just the title?
No, but let me tell you what happens. When you take it subject to, you are, it's not default. You are breaking a condition of the loan. Because the condition of the loan is due on sale. When they sell it, it has to be paid off. So what happened was, we went around that. We sell it, the loan gets transferred. Now what happens is, if the lender finds out about it, they have a right, by looking at all the loan docs, and every loan doc, almost every loan doc, that they could call a loan. So their remedy is to, hey, this is not in Mr. Bob Jones's name anymore. We can call the loan. But you know how you get called? By you doing something stupid, like not paying your payment. But if you're paying it, it goes to a service center, it gets inputted as paid, and that's it.
They're happy.
They're happy.
Not only has the bank never called the loan on any of the deals, the many, many deals we've done, but neither of us know anyone where the bank has ever called the loan. It's a very safe bet.
Right.
I just want to say the same thing. If a tenant is late on his rent, the landlord has the right to evict that tenant. But the landlord has chosen not to evict him and give him a chance and say, okay, pay me in 3 payments or catch up, you know what I'm saying? So the landlord wants the tenant, so he'll give him a 15-day, even though he does have the right to evict them and give him a 3-day notice right away. He just gives them a little deal and then the tenant pays back and life goes on.
Like Jerry said, I've never known anyone, including ourselves, that's ever gotten a loan call on the subject to. Subject to is the greatest, easiest financing method if it makes sense. Yes, Tom?
Right. And in the stuff that the world I'm circulating in right now, the people who are risking leaving their loans or they're giving their credit are getting screwed by family members and friends left and right because they're leaving, their loan in place, and then their cousin doesn't pay after all, just takes off, or they give their credit so they're, so I can see that it's a high risk for somebody.
Only the family.
Where there's a lot of credit being ruined by people lending their name on the loan when they're not responsible for the payment.
Right. Are we gonna take a property subject to and not make those payments?
No.
Okay, that doesn't apply to any of us then, right? Right. And we're gonna make our payments, right?
Right, but I mean, just in general, the concept is great, but it is a liability for anyone. Like, okay, if they ask me, should I do this thing they're going to take subject to, I would always ask them, well, how much do you trust this person because they could screw up your credit, you know.
I'll be honest, if I had a loan and somebody said, I'll take it over subject to, I'd question that. Because I value my credit. But you gotta remember, some of these guys are just trying to sell their property. You come across presentable, you're honorable, and I look them 100% in the eye and tell them I will not default on this property. And I'm not. So I don't have any problem saying that. I'm not trying to trick them into anything because I'm gonna sucker them on the back end now. It's very easy to do.
So when you put their name on the insurance along with yours, would you have to notify the seller and say, hey, I'm getting insurance and your name has to be on the insurance?
No.
No.
They're
Because
not
it's
know
your
that.
address here. The reason why is because because the lender requests a copy every year and it has the right person's name on it.
Okay, so the seller does not know about that?
No.
Okay.
Your additional information.
Yeah, it could be additional insured or co-insured, either one. And you know, you gotta remember, sometimes we take these not in our name, we take them in the name of a trust. So that is on the, you know, so Bob Jones may be the lender, but Rosemead Boulevard Partners is on the insured. So the lender looks at that and says, oh, they must have put it in an entity, whatever, you know. It's usually when it's maybe, you know, and I'm giving what if, we never had that happen either, but if it's in somebody else's name, it may call attention. It still hasn't, never done that to us either, but I'm just saying, somebody had their hand up over it. Yes?
Are you gonna be talking about how we hold the title?
I could. Would you like to give a
Like,
direct
for
question
example,
from that?
these properties that you just talked about, did you hold them in your name or in the trust or in LLC?
This one I hold it in LLC, but I originally held it in my name. Summit, I hold it in LLC,
Separate ones?
separate ones. Yes, those two are separate. I have 7 LLCs. I think the $2.5 million home is held in a family trust, right? So,
It's just to isolate the liability.
yeah, and that and a little bit of estate planning and, you know,
And then at least filing a tax return for each one of those.
correct.
And then we're $800, right?
You know, how each,
Yes. You know, I would not, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not going to sit here and say that before you, I know a lot of attorneys that do this, or people that sell this class, is before you buy anything, you need to set up all of your entities. That's a crock of BS, because before you do anything, you need to buy something. Right? I mean, we still know people who are 2 years in the real estate business, haven't in the real estate investment business, haven't done anything, but they have everything set up. They have their DBA, a checking account, they have their lawyer on staff, they have everything except real estate.
They haven't started prospecting.
I'm thinking of Nikki. Okay. What do you want to hear? You want to hear about our old office building? You want to hear about a deal with Jimmy? You want to hear about a deal with Jerry? What do you want to hear about?
I want to hear again how you do those, remember how you were talking to me about that one condo that they just, 500,000, that they just want someone to take over the payments? I just have another one, it's another condo in Long Beach, who they just want out of the payments. And it's below market value if you don't have to do commissions and all that. You know, but I'd like to hear you say, and I think everyone else would be interested, how do you take the property over at pretty close to market value and still make it work? Because that's pretty tricky.
That's the question, make it work.
That was yesterday's example, right?
Okay, here, I'll throw some hypotheticals. $500,000 condo, okay? You can buy it, well, let's talk about this. The loan amount is $470?
Yeah, well, say.
It's worth $500.
No, it's worth maybe $540, $550, the loan amount's $500, he just wants out.
$550. Let's do this together. Loan amount is $500. What's the payment?
$4,000.
We talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah,
Okay, what can you write it for?
like, we thought maybe 26, 28.
Okay, so your payment is $4,000 plus taxes on this is $500 a month, plus association is, call it $250, plus
100 insurance.
100 insurance. What does this equal? 45, 47, 48, 50. You're looking at a $2,200 a month negative, right?